Diamond for diamond, no one compares with Mervis. At Mervis Diamond Importers, our natural diamonds come straight from the mines in Africa, and our mermaid lab-grown diamonds beat all others for quality and value. Come view our brilliant diamonds, both natural and lab-grown. Mervis diamonds are so bright and full of fire they will blow you away. So will the affordable prices. Our diamonds may steal your heart, but not your wallet. See our mermaid lab-grown diamonds and learn how to get a larger diamond for less. You can get a bigger mermaid lab-grown diamonds than you ever thought possible. And with Mervis financing, you can enjoy up to 5 years to pay with zero interest. Our generous full-value trader policy and our lifetime warranty program easily make Mervis your first choice. When you mount a world-class Mervis diamond into a designer ring from our huge collection, there is no equal. Mervis Diamond Importers. For an appointment, call 800-HER-LOVE or go to mervisdiamond.com. Again, that's 800-HER-LOVE or go to mervisdiamond.com.
Hi, so welcome to the 1865 match report, recording the morning after a 1-1 draw between Nottingham Forest and Burnley at the City Ground. So 1-1 draw, one of those games that maybe on paper, given that we're a little bit stronger than last season, we'd have been hoping for 3 points. And certainly it looks that way when we saw the formation, the lineups rather. We had a very attacking 4-2-3-1 formation. Turner in goal, a back four of Montiel on the right, Worrell and McKenna, and then Aina on the left. Sangare made his debut with Mangala anchoring the midfield, and then we had Alanya, Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi and Taiwo Awoniyi, a very, very potent front four. But despite that, it was Burnley forced the first save out of Turner. In the first few minutes, Koleosho, their left winger, he got in behind Montiel quite a few times and caused us a few problems, but we started to grow into the game and that attacking prowess started to show. Hudson-Odoi in particular getting on the ball and making things happen. Gibbs-White skipped over quite a few tackles. Awoniyi was hustling their defenders and pressing them right up the pitch, giving them no time on the ball. And as I say, Callum Hudson-Odoi, he was just a revelation. He forced a couple of saves from their keeper. I was thinking we're looking really, really good here, but inevitably Burnley came into the game more. And Koleosho, that man once again, he entered the space vacated by Montiel. Worrell comes over to cover. He gets round Worrell. He's a little bit lucky possibly, but centres the ball and Amdouni just puts in this low 20-yard drive past Turner. Burnley continued to dominate that half. We picked up a couple of bookings along the way, but we'll come back to the ref later on. Second half saw no changes in personnel, but Koleosho did Montiel once more. Montiel was one of those bookings, so Steve Cooper took him off, moved Aina to the right and brought Nuno Tavares on the left. Aina was outstanding, kept Koleosho quiet, and Burnley in general were much quieter. Forest started to make the most of it. Lots of possession, but not really that much in the way of chances. Then the ball breaks down our right-hand side. Sangare picks it up sort of just outside the box and plays it high over to the other side. Taiwo brings it down, gives it to Hudson-Odoi, takes a touch to beat the defender, another to put it on his right foot, and then plays in this perfect 20-yard shot right into the top corner. We carried on dominating the possession, but Hudson-Odoi comes off with Mangala, replaced by Origi and Yates. And then a bit of a disaster. Sander Berger somehow outpaces Scott McKenna, who ended up on the floor. He squares it to Lyle Foster, and Lyle Foster puts it past Turner. From where I was, out of nowhere, VAR check's called, and the goal is ruled out for handball by Berger. Then, in time added on, there's a massive clash of bodies in the Forest box. Burnley fans behind the goal are screaming for a penalty as the ball's cleared, but it's Yates who stays down. As he gets up, he runs over to the ref, signalling for a VAR check, and that check is actually called. The ref goes to the monitor and shows a card to Lyle Foster. So it ends 1-1. As I say, we could look at that as 2 points dropped, or we could see that as maybe like a point gained. I'm joined by Tom Newton, who's also at the game, but before we hear from him, let's hear the view from the opposition from Joe from the TurfCast Podcast.
Hi lads, hope you're well. Joe Redman here from TurfCast Podcast, just giving my thoughts after Burnley's point at the City Ground tonight. Well, where do I start with all of that? For a 1-1, which, by the way, I predicted on the TurfCast Podcast pre-game show, which had Thomas on it this week from your podcast. I think I did anyway. But anyway, that's. I'm digressing. But where do I start with it? It was quite action-packed, wasn't it, for a 1-1? I thought we were probably the better side in the second half. You were probably the better side in the first half. I just felt we kept shooting ourselves in the foot. Like, we just give the ball away so much in that first half. And it's been a thing that we've been doing it for quite a while this season, pretty much all season, really. We've just not looked as good in possession as we did last year. And I know last year we were in the Championship, and some people say, well, it's a tougher league. And yeah, it is. But we're doing it when there's no pressure on us. There was one point when Josh Brownlow just kicked the ball out for a corner and there was zero pressure on him. We just kept booting it to your midfield with no pressure on him. And that's not because this league's tougher. It's just because we weren't concentrating. So pretty annoyed with that. Your goal was insane. I've got nothing to argue against that, other than something I will get into in a minute. But our goal, decent, well-worked goal. Decent little finish from Amdouni. And Coley Oshaw. He is some player, the lad that was on our left, Luca Coley-Oshaw. We signed him in the summer and he has been absolutely fantastic. He's the only Burnley player that wants to have the ball at his feet and make things happen all the time. He is a gem and he will be sold for a lot of money in a few years. But hopefully it's a few years and it's not very, very soon, because I want to watch him develop. He's a fantastic footballer. But I am baffled with VAR tonight. And I'm not one of these fans that will just look at something that's happened against my club and always back my club. I am quite impartial. I can take the claret tinted glasses off and look at him and be like, no, I think he's got that one right there. But I think your goal should have stood. I think your goal should have stood. It's not handball. But then I also think our goal, the second one, should have stood. The problem with VAR is they shot themselves in the foot, and I've just said it on our own show. They shot themselves in the foot by saying it has to be clear and obvious when they brought it in. You cannot look at that frame by frame in that picture and tell me that there's a clear and obvious handball in that. I think the problem with it and why they've not allowed it, so why they've disallowed the goal, is he slightly moves his arm towards the ball, whereas your player didn't. I think they're the only things. But just because he's moved his arm towards the ball doesn't mean it touches it. For me, I'm tapping my shoulder to show you, but you can't see me. It touches kind of like half of his chest and half of the top part of his arm, but it's not the top part of the arm. That's the handball. So I don't understand. It doesn't hit. If anything, your player was closer. He didn't handball it. I'm just saying it was closer to his forearm than it was Sander Berg's. So very disappointed to see that given against us, if I'm honest. And, you know, I'm not enjoying having VAR back. I know you boys were in the Championship not so long ago, but it's just so much better, isn't it, without VAR? Just the stop-start nature of it and then getting things taken away from you. And the Foster red card as well. Again, I will point out now that I feel like I am a person that can take the claret-tinted glasses off. And I may see a different angle of that and change my mind. But at the minute, again, from the angle that the referee is shown and the angle that, because I wasn't fortunate enough to get down today, and the angle that we were shown on the international broadcast, you cannot look at that and say that he has definitely hit him in the face. You can see a shrug, as if to say, like, yeah, get off me. There's a shrug. And I don't think how you can see any contact from the pictures shown. That's where I have any qualms with that one. I may see a different angle of it tonight or tomorrow where he's clearly hit him in the face and be like, yeah, fair enough, it's a red. But from the pictures that we saw, I just don't see how the referee can look at that footage and be like, yeah, he's gone for him there, that's deliberate, that's a red. Foster shouldn't have given the decision, and that's what I will say. Foster has given the referee a decision to make when he didn't need to. Because he was being held, was Foster, so he's clearly just shrugged the guy to get him off him, and then the referees have deemed it, you know, serious foul play or whatever it is. But yeah, disappointed with the VAR, but happy with the point, because some perspective, you guys have recruited well, you've got some good players, you beat Chelsea last time out at Chelsea. We've just gone to your gaff and got the point, so I'm happy with that. It's given me hope for the rest of the season. Well, expectation rather than hope. I'm still not worried. I haven't been worried at any point that I think we'll get relegated. I still think we'll be okay. After watching tonight, I'm adamant we'll be okay. Simply because this is the first time that we have played a team that isn't going to be pushing for the top six come the end of the season, and we've more than held our own. We've been better in patches of the game for me. And this tells me that we will pick up points for the rest of the season. I think you'll probably be pushing, 12th, something like that. But I think we'll be picking up points and we're not playing sides going for Europe. But happy with the point, take it.
So Joe's a little bit annoyed with the referee and VAR. What did you think of the ref's performance then, Tom?
Pretty much a typical Premier League performance by the ref, really. I think he gave some bits to us and some bits to Burnley and missed a bit. And we're probably fortunate that there was VAR on the night because from where I was, I just thought Sander Berge basically just got past McKenna. Thought it was poor defending by McKenna, and he's squared it for Lyle Foster to tap in, and I didn't think there was much wrong with it. And got to say, I'm very thankful for the VAR to rule the goal out because, like I said, I didn't see anything there. And then when you look back, you can see that Sander Berge has used his arm in the process of setting up Lyle Foster. But the thing is, though, Burnley fans will say, well, for when we scored, did a 1E use his hand to control the ball? It's swings and roundabouts. You get some, and you don't get some. Pretty much like us the other week against Man United with the penalty call, etc. So, sometimes they do say over a season they do equal themselves out. So I think we're on par at the moment with the.
Well, I think maybe we're due a few after last season.
Yeah,
but I'd say if that had happened, if that Sander Berge had been playing for us and that had happened, I'd probably be quite annoyed about it because I don't think there was much he could have done with his arm because Scott McKenna was basically falling over next to him. He was trying to sort of hold him off. So, as you say, that's one of them things, isn't it?
Sometimes it's just like you say, you get some decisions your way and you don't. But thankfully last night, the VAR calls were in our favour.
Yeah. So I thought first 20 minutes, especially, we looked pretty good. That attacking four, I actually had the thought we're looking really good going forwards here. And then I thought, no, stop that, because what you've just done is going to jinx us and they're going to come back into the game. And of course they did. What did you reckon?
Yeah, pretty much when the teams got announced around about, 6:30, and it took a bit of working out, because all along Cooper wants to play with the three centre halves and then obviously two wing backs pushed up and everything. But he changed it up a bit last night. And yeah, when you look at that front four of Awoniyi, and then you obviously in behind you've got Alanga, Hudson-Odoi and Gibbs-White, it does look very good, doesn't it, in terms of what they can give you. And I thought the first 20 minutes, I think Forest come out of the blocks flying, really want to get a foothold in the game and everything. And just when you're in the ascendancy, sometimes, especially, no disrespect to Burnley, but they haven't started the season that well in terms of picking up the points. And I think in the first 20 minutes, I think we had to make it pay. And unfortunately it didn't. I mean, Hudson-Odoi had a shot at James Trafford. It was pretty much a routine save, wasn't it? But yeah, after that 20 minutes, that company changed things up, didn't he? And they were a bit more resolute and weren't as naive with the ball. And I think
what did us was they basically cut out all the passes to Gibbs-White. And it's one of them things. Hudson-Odoi was looking good, but yeah, without Gibbs-White, we are sort of lacking that focal point, that creativity kind of thing. And that's what let them in.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was a hangover from the under-21 tournament, which England won, but I just thought Gibbs-White's just not been fully on it so far this season. He's been okay, but not outstanding like he was last season. And I think at times last night, Hudson-Odoi, I think he was even though we'd talk about it in a bit, but he took his goal really well. But I thought it was sometimes he was just trying that bit too hard and trying to force it rather than playing his natural game. And yeah, I thought there was a couple of opportunities last night, especially in the first half, that were probably forcing it a bit too much, and we probably made the wrong pass or made the wrong decision, and hence why we didn't score.
Yeah, I thought actually that there was a bit of that. There was that you made the wrong choice there when we were maybe looking like there was one point, I think this was in the second half, where it was like Gibbs-White just had like a corridor in front of him to go through on goal, and for some reason he like knocks it over to the left, and
Yes.
it's like I don't really see why he made that choice.
Yeah, there was an occasion in the first half where he only had to like play Iron in on the left hand side and decided not to, and like the chance is gone. So, but we've got with Hudson-Odoi made his debut last night. Sangare made his debut, and I don't think we're going to expect an absolute different sea change overnight, because I think Sangare's only had a couple of training sessions because obviously been on international duty, as with everybody else in terms of the majority of the first 11. So I think it's just going to take time, really. There was really some promising green shoots of encouragement going into the next few games, etc. But I think it's just going to take time, because obviously we've signed 7 more players on deadline day and Johnson's no here. So, yeah, I think it's just going to be steady progression to for the players to get used to playing with each other and everything. And but I think we're in a good place at the moment.
Yeah. So about Sangare then, because obviously he was our big money signing, the one that everyone's very excited about. I thought he showed a lot of why we're excited about him, but I think almost it's that same thing of someone who's never played in the Premier League getting a little bit shocked by the intensity of it.
Yeah, you basically took the words out of my mouth on that one. Yeah, I thought he was very impressive. You can see what he does, and he's quite got quick feet, etc., and he can get himself out of tight situations, and he can break up the play and keep the ball moving. And you can see there's definitely qualities there. But yeah, the intensity of the Premier League, probably he knew it was going to be quick, but as soon as you're on that pitch, you just don't realise how quick it's going to be. And I thought because he played the whole game, didn't he? So I was quite surprised that he did play the whole game, because I thought at times, especially in the back end of the second half, I thought there's a couple of passes which were like really tired passes, and but yeah, it was a decent debut from him, and I think there's going to be more to come once he gets used to the way of playing, and then obviously gets up to speed with the intensity of the Premier League. But yeah, I can see why we signed him, because we're probably like missing that physical influence in the middle of the park. I mean, Yates is pretty decent at it to Mangala, but you know that seismic player in there kind of thing who can actually dominate a midfield, because a lot of the games last year we lost so many midfield battles, which you can probably understand being a newly promoted club. But yeah, Sangare, he is going to be a very, very good player for us. But yeah, I think it was a decent debut last night, but like I said, there's going to be more to come from him. So
actually mentioning Ryan Yates there, someone mentioned in our group chat last night, I think at half time, that so Montiel, obviously he really, really struggles against Koleosho.
I've just thought with Montiel last night. Yeah, I just thought Montiel last night, I thought he was a ticking time bomb. He was putting a few rash challenges, then he got booked. Then they kept dropping the ball in over him on the dive because the news on a booking and he was a bit rash and everything. Then I know we've touched on it earlier, but the goal where Worrell has to come across, I thought it was just a recipe for disaster, because no disrespect to Worrell, but he's not the quickest and he doesn't want to be going out there helping his fullback and everything. And when Koleosho got past him, I thought, but yeah, I was very surprised with Montiel actually coming out for the second half, really. And I mean, he only lasted 5 minutes of the second half, and they switched it with Aina going at right back and Tavares playing at left back. But I don't want. I thought it was for what he's brought. I mean, World Cup winner for Argentina, played for Seville, won a couple of Europa Leagues. I thought it was a bit like a Gaetan Bong-esque debut. I just thought it was just. I don't want to lie. I don't like criticising players because they don't openly go out there and have a bad game. But I didn't think he was that great last night, and I thought he was very much a weak link. And I thought he's either going to get sent off, or he's going to get subbed off, or he's going to give a penalty or something like that. And thankfully, Steve Cooper saw saw that for the betterment of the team and obviously switched it. But yeah, it wasn't a great debut from Montiel last night.
Someone in the group chat, I can't remember who, did mention that if it had been Yates playing instead of Sangara, then he would have been covering and it wouldn't have been Worrell that had to come across then.
Yeah.
Again, that sort of thing of two players who aren't used to the Premier League playing next to each other probably is what did us to some extent.
Yeah. But like I said, we got out of it in terms of if that game was last season, I don't think we would have probably got an equaliser then, probably like shot ourselves in the foot.
Mm.
But I think we're more resolute now, more streetwise.
The 1865 Match Report.
Wait, are you gaming? On a Chromebook?
Yep. It's got a high-res 120Hz display, plus this killer RGB keyboard. And I can access thousands of games anytime, anywhere.
Stop playing.
What?
Get out of here.
Huh?
Yeah, I want you to stop playing and get out of here so I can game on that Chromebook.
Got it.
Discover the ultimate cloud gaming machine, a new kind of Chromebook.
You're listening to 1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast.
I think Hudson-Odoi won the man of the match. Obviously, it was his debut. He's a player who hasn't played for, 18 months or something because of his injuries. Not seriously. And I was quite surprised, actually, when he came off. He didn't look to me like he was slowing down, but he came off at about 65 minutes or something like that. Which I guess looking back on it, probably makes sense if he hasn't played that much, but it was quite an impressive way to start your Forest account.
Yeah, but when we were rumoured about getting him, I thought we're not going to get him. He's going to stay in London. He's going to go to Fulham, etc. But when it got to deadline day and we got him, and the fee, which is reportedly 3 million, 5 million, it's an absolute snip. And he, a few years ago in the FA Cup for Chelsea, absolutely ripped us apart. And I think he's just lost his way a bit. And I don't think it's his fault really. He got frozen out at Chelsea, didn't he? Because they've spent £1 billion on about 700 players who, if they've got 2 feet, you're going to get a game at Chelsea. And he went to Bayer Leverkusen because he's got an injury, and he's lost his way a bit in terms of an injury can set you back a long way. I mean, he was up there, wasn't he, with like the Phil Fodens and etc. Great English talent and everything. And yeah, just amazing now an injury can set you back a season or two. But yeah, when we signed him, I thought if he can get back to half of what he did at Chelsea, he's going to be a very, very good player. And I thought he was very impressive last night. And his goal just epitomises that. It was just got the ball, dropped his shoulder, and he's curled it into the top corner, and no keeper saving that. And I think going back to like losing Brennan Johnson, I've always said it in the past, I haven't got a problem with us selling players. It's how you replace them adequately. And now we've got Hudson-Odoi and Elanga in there. I think we're going to be all right because, the two of them are both outstanding talents, and they're only, 21, 22 respectively. Yeah. So I think, and then obviously you've got Gibbs White, who's pretty young as well. So, we've got a attacking sense. We've got a really good core there, which hopefully we're going to flourish in the next few years with them at the forefront of that.
Actually, there's an interesting point. I thought Elanga wasn't... I don't mean to... this will sound pretty harsh, but I didn't think he was great. But there was one point, and I did check the stats, and we had 49% possession, which is probably double what we've had for the last year or so. And part of me was thinking, I'm not entirely sure that sort of trying to pass the ball about is going to suit Elanga. He's going to want us to be sat deep in that low block so he can make a 60-yard run and beat everyone. Yeah.
I thought Burnley looked after him quite well last night. I think there was a couple of opportunities where he did get the run on the defender, etc. But I think they cottoned on to the fact of how much of a threat he was in the League Cup game. So it was all right last night, Langer, but it was a bit quieter. I just think it's a case of They've cottoned on to how much of a threat he was, and sometimes they doubled up on him, and he couldn't do what he normally does, kind of things. So, but yeah, I think it's quite right in saying that if we're going to have more possession, etc., then he might suffer slightly. But I think there's like different ways to skin a cat, isn't there? So
yeah. And then I just wanted to mention Awoniyi because I thought he was absolutely outstanding. In fact, him and Matt Turner, I don't think the like match reports and whatever I've seen, they don't seem to get much of a mention. I thought Matt Turner didn't put a foot wrong. I thought he played really, really well, and I thought Awoniyi was outstanding.
Yeah, Matt Turner's been fantastic, hasn't he, since he joined from Arsenal? And that save last night, I thought it was in, the one at the Trent end in the first half, and it's a really good save. I mean, people who were with like Roy Keane, he probably says, "Oh, that's his job," kind of thing. But it was a class save, that was, and he's become a very, very competent goalkeeper. And he's very quick in terms of he wants to go on the front foot and everything. So he's been a very good buy. And then the signing of Awoniyi, he has been fantastic. I mean, a few people would like saying in the summer we're going to miss Renan Lodi, and he's come in there. And I don't think left wing backs is his number one position. I think he's right wing back, isn't he? But he's just shows you how versatile he is, and he hasn't put a foot wrong. And I mean, if you look at who he's been up against, Bukayo Saka, etc., and whoever, and the like 9 right wingers Chelsea brought on the other week, he's coped with them exceptionally well. And on a free from Torino, I mean, he could potentially be the signing of the season in terms of we've hardly played. Well, we've got him on a free, etc. So it hasn't really cost us any money in that sense. So he's been fantastic, and Turner as well. So I had a funny feeling that Vlachodimos might get a start last night because obviously Matt Turner and his partner have had a baby. So congratulations to them. Yeah. But I don't know how much training he potentially missed. So I had a funny feeling.
On duty as well, so maybe it's again part of putting too many new faces in all at once again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like steady integration, isn't it? I mean, Dominguez didn't get on last night, did he? So yeah, I think it's just going to be drip fed in kind of thing. But yeah, like I said, we're in a lot better place now than we was, say, a year ago.
But that leads us quite nicely to Steve Cooper's post-match comments, where he said, we did some good stuff, we did some bad stuff, but throughout the entire interview, the Radio Nottingham interview, he was making the point that this is pretty much a new team and it's going to take time to integrate these players. And that's one of his lessons from last year, is bringing new players in, especially those who haven't got experience of the Premier League, is going to take time.
Yeah. And you just know that he's capable of doing the job because he did it last year with all the changing and everything. So, I mean, I know we signed 7 on deadline day, but like I said, I think we've got a very good coach who knows what it takes for everything to take over nicely, kind of thing. So, steady integration with the players and everything, and steady progression, and we'll be all right this season.
So, and actually, the bloke next to me, he turns to me at one point in the game and he goes, so the other day, today rather, or yesterday now, he goes, Facebook memory popped up saying Forest's first win of the season, Huddersfield, with Stephen Reed in charge. And then Steve Cooper takes over and we're now 8th in the Premier League, and we've signed Songaro, we've got Hudson-Odoi, we've got Alanga. It's quite a transformation, really.
Yeah, and I think pound for pound, this is the strongest Forest squad in my lifetime. And I'll even go on record and saying it's stronger than the one what we had in 94-95, because you had your starting 11 with the likes of like Pierce, Roy, Woan, Collymore, etc. But if they were injured, there weren't as good a quality who can come in. No disrespect to him, but like Jason Lee, Rob Rosario, players like that who didn't possess the same qualities of those players. But if you look at the bench and everything, so one who comes off, D-Rock, Origi comes on. You got Sangara, who I know he played the whole game last night, but if he did go off last night, you got Yates, who did come on, and you got Nicholas Dominguez, who can come on. So the strength and depth is, like I said, I think pound for pound, it's the best squad in my lifetime. And if we keep things ticking over nicely and over the next few years, I think the club is in a very, very good place.
Absolutely. So now we've just got a quick news report from Callum, just updating us on the squad.
Hi, this is Callum with the 1865 news. So not much news to bring at the moment, obviously, other than the actual games themselves. We've had the international break, and we've had players go out, and we've had Awoniyi scoring goals and Sangari on international duty and everything like that. But it's been a bit quiet. We did get the 25-man squad through, though, which I will read out now for you. So the goalkeepers we have Matt Turner, Odysseus Vlachodimos, Wayne Hennessy. In defence, we've got Ola Aina, Nico Williams, Gonzalo Montiel, Nuno Tavares, Harry Toffolo, Serge Aurier, Joe Worrell, Will E. Bolly, Scott McKenna, Moussa Niakate and Felipe. In midfield, we've got Ryan Yates, Nico Dominguez, Orel Mangala, Danilo, Ibrahim Sangare, Cheku Koyate, Morgan Gibbs-White. And in the forward options, we've got Callum Hudson-Odoi, Taiwo Awoniyi, Chris Wood and Divock Origi. And then the players that may be involved from the under-21 category be Andrew Omobamidele, Murillo, Andre Santos, Brandon Aguilera, and then obviously as well Anthony Alanga. So that's the squad that we have for this upcoming season. We've obviously got an array of options down, a lot of depth. It's just about them all bedding in and getting used to being part of the team. But I'll be back again with the news soon. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you very much, Callum. So that's that. So it's a little bit disappointing maybe to only get a point against a team that's been struggling for points, but I think, as you say, Tom, we're in a pretty good place overall, and certainly 8th in the Premier League at this stage of the season. It's a bit early to be making predictions, but I think if we can stay injury-free, I think we're going to definitely mid-table will be a reasonable expectation.
Yeah, I'd say anywhere from 11th to 14th. I think that will be steady progression. Just keep ticking over, get these players integrated in how we want to play and everything, and just don't get embroiled in a relegation battle, which. I know, like you just said it, I know it's early days, but you've got Luton down there, Sheffield United down there, Burnley down there, Everton down there, Wolves, who they say they're playing well, but they're not really picking up results. So yeah, I think we'll be all right this season, and and I don't think we'll get embroiled in a relegation battle as we did last year, but obviously it was expected last year.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Tom. Thank you to Joe from the TurfCast Podcast. Thank you to Callum for the news. And thank you for listening. We'll be back next on Saturday, isn't it, for Man City away, which is going to be an interesting one. Hopefully we can show some resolve there as well. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back next Saturday.
Podcast Network.
Before Sarah discovered ChumbaCasino.com, she enjoyed chamomile tea.
Come on, big jackpot.
And being in PJs by 6.
Let's go.
The new fun Sarah often thinks about the old boring Sarah.
Yes.
And wonders if that Sarah ever really existed.
Chumba Casino has over 100 casino-style games. So join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.